Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. One small positive thought can change your whole day. Zig Ziglar. Are you striving to meet the daily challenge to 10x your business? Become known for your products or services on JMMB radio podcasts heard in over 200 countries, or if you're ready to take the leap, move to Mindset Movers TV as a host or series producer, broadcasting to the combined audience of Roku and Fire TV. Every day in business has its challenges. Find a partner with Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. Contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Geoffrey Kent is a mentor, author, serial entrepreneur, and coach. He has experienced every facet of beginning, launching, growing, and scaling high-value business ventures, and the bumps and ruts along the way. Through his business, Think Big with Geoffrey Kent, he guides entrepreneurs to successfully accelerate their businesses from launch through early stage to business exit. Geoff Kent is not known for the hype so often found in business presentations. Rather, he is always ready and willing to impart world-class knowledge and business education and business wisdom. Today, we look forward to this conversation, and we suggest to our listening audience that you have a pen and paper available. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well,
Hello. Hello. How are you?
we're doing just fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good, good, good. I was over on your website and I was like loving it.
Yeah.
And one of those things you said is something about the ego, and
Right.
that struck me really good because I hate egos.
Yep.
They're non-productive.
Yep.
They don't serve a purpose at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I counsel enough entrepreneurs, and so I've seen enough egos, and sometimes you just have to get out of the way. And so I always tell everybody, you got to, success comes when you're humble, and and you listen, and so a lot of times you have to set the ego aside and actually listen. If you're leading with the ego, you're not going to listen to people, and you don't grow if you don't listen.
Absolutely. So you've been 40 years in.
Yeah. And I look it too. So
No, you don't. You don't look at it all. But I'm the knowledge in your head
yeah.
has to be a walking book. So how did you get started with this?
Well, so I well, 4 decades of and actually the first 20 to 25 years of it was fighting being an entrepreneur. So I have a the fortune of great education. So I was able to get some really good corporate jobs, and so, but the entire time I was in corporate America, I was trying to be an entrepreneur on the side, and doing things part time, and so I probably ran through close to 20 ventures before I finally said, God, I'm going to submit to your will, and I left my last corporate job in 1999 and decided to pursue entrepreneurship full time. So I initially started a management consulting firm because I was at the time working for Deloitte Consulting, and I thought that would be the easiest transition. I ran that for 7 years, shut that down, and in 2006, and I actually through a client, a former client, someone that I had hired for our client, had reached out to me and asked for some mentoring, and helping him write his business plan. We ended up launching an information technology company in 2007. Grew it like wildfire and sold it in 2013. At that point, I have two daughters. They were very young, and I didn't need to work anymore. So I figured I'd spend, as much time as possible with them. But, have always wanted to help entrepreneurs. So, even when I was in my 20s, and as an entrepreneur myself, anyone that was crazy enough to pursue this field would reach out to me. I'd bend over backwards to help them out and give them whatever advice I could. And so, when I sold the business, sold the IT business, just continue to have entrepreneurs reach out to me for help. And but there was a consistent theme that I would get every time I would consult to someone. They were like, "You need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to write a book." So I actually started down that process. I fortunately knew someone who was a publisher, so I reached out to him and said, "Hey, everyone's telling me to write a book. I don't know where to start. Can you help me out?" And so we started down that path, and then he ended up introducing me to someone in his ecosystem that helps business authors convert book content into online coursework. So that company, they were like, stop writing your book. You need to focus on this course because young people don't like to read. They need to be entertained with videos. Like okay, I'll go along with that. So I developed a 7-week online course to help entrepreneurs who, either prospective entrepreneurs or actual entrepreneurs who are interested in experiencing exponential business growth, but really don't know how to go about it. This is something that I've done, multiple times. So, and I had developed a specific methodology that I infused into every venture I had. And it worked. So I figured, okay, well, let me show other people how to do this. Part of it's understanding what you need to do, and it's replicating other successful entrepreneurs and the tried and true principles that they incorporate into their businesses. But it's also helping an entrepreneur understand what are your individual strengths and weaknesses, because you can implement all of this yourself. So you need to know what you're good at and what you like to do. You implement those things. What's probably more important is understanding what you're not good at and what you don't like to do, so that you understand I need to outsource that very quickly. Whether it's, I'm using an external resource to help me do that, or I'm actually hiring people if you have the revenue to be able to hire people to take on those tasks for you.
Very interesting. So what are
Go ahead, Ruth. Go ahead.
Okay. We try not to cut each other off. But I know you mentioned at the beginning, okay, so now you have this course and people can receive the course and do it. But still, what are the things that I'd say the top 3 things that really hinder an entrepreneur that you've experienced?
Yeah. So, they're basically 6 principles that I try to have an entrepreneur incorporate into their business to succeed. So I'll cover the top three.
Okay.
So one is, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, what successful entrepreneurs do is they figure out what they're passionate about, and then they build a business around their passion. So how I get that point across to an entrepreneur is I said, okay, well, more than likely, some successful entrepreneurs. So when if you were to have a conversation with them, what are some of the things you notice? And I'm guessing you notice that they seem to be extraordinarily happy all the time, And I said, part of the reason why is again, because they know what they're passionate about and they built the business around their passion. So they love what they do and they're doing what they love, So for them, they have a business and they're working, but they don't perceive what they do as work. For them, what they do is as natural as eating, breathing, and sleeping, right? It's just one more thing that they do. So, and then what you notice is that when you love what you do, you're kind of like that nightclub that has that line of people wrapped around the club trying to get in. if you're that young person trying to go out and go dancing, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go to the club that has this long line. It would make more sense to go to the club with no line so you can get in and actually dance. But our mind tells us, well, if people are waiting in line, that must be really good. So let me wait in line too,
Yeah.
And that's what when you're passionate about something, it just oozes out of your pores, and people are attracted to that. You become a human magnet, right? And people want to they want to understand, why is Geoff so happy, and it draws customers to you. It draws strategic alliance partners to you. It draws board members, employees, you name it. So that's one thing. Not enough people figure out what will make me happy, and let me start a business that will actually allow me to do what makes me happy, 24/7, 365, right? So that would be one thing. Another thing, and I was going to cover the top three. I'm going to shift on that because in talking to entrepreneurs and when I go online and answer questions that entrepreneurs send me, I notice that there's a high propensity for questions to revolve around finance, and so let me focus on that. So another thing that I notice entrepreneurs don't do is they don't spend enough time understanding, finance and accounting and why it's important. And so at some point, you're more than likely, particularly if you want to exponentially scale your business, you're going to try to raise capital, from an outside source. And when you do that, if you lack an understanding of finance, you're more than likely going to have absolutely no chance of raising funding. Because a funder, I mean, that's how they look at the world, from through numbers, and the questions they're going to ask you are going to drill down on your understanding of the numbers. And if you give them the sense you don't have a real good caption of how you're going to make money and how you're going to earn profit and how you're going to give them a return on their investment, they're going to have zero confidence in investing in you.
Sure.
In terms of a third, it would probably be, and this is kind of related to the first one. I run into a lot of entrepreneurs that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. I'll put it that way. So I run into a lot of people that should not be pursuing entrepreneurship, but when I talked earlier about, knowing those successful people that always seem to be happy, the grass always looks greener on the other side. So there are a lot of people that are miserable in their corporate job and, they're like, hey, I see this other person that's an entrepreneur and they're so happy, I need to pursue entrepreneurship. And, when I interact with those people, what I try to get them to understand is, you need to know what you're going to be. First of all, you need to walk into entrepreneurship with your eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to understand what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people pursue entrepreneurship thinking, hey, I love, whatever. I like. I'm a computer programmer. I love to write code. I'm going to start a computer programming business. And I'm going to write code all day long, every day. No, you're not. Guess what? You're probably never going to be able to write code anymore once you start your business, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up hiring people, firing people. You're going to, sell, try to get customers. So you're going to be making sales. You're going to be developing proposals. You're going to be raising capital. It's just all these things that you're, putting contracts together if you're successful enough in getting someone to buy your services. All these things that have absolutely nothing to writing code, So I run into a lot of people that are like, hey, I started this business and I'm not happy because I'm not doing what I love doing. And, it's because you didn't take the time to write a business plan to understand that, entrepreneurship, particularly when you're starting and have no money, you have to do everything, and everything, when you look at the makeup of a company, if you look at any large company, look at all the departments. that exists in the company.
Absolutely.
As an entrepreneur, with no ability to hire anyone because you have no capital,
Yeah.
you have to do everything.
Yes.
You have to be the legal department, you have to be the marketing department, the sales department, operations, distribution, so on and so forth. You have to do everything. And for people that don't understand that, they will be very miserable when when they start that. So a lot of times I'm trying to understand what people's mindset is. So one of the things that I have a definition for what an entrepreneur is, and so I ask people a lot of questions that help me drill down whether this person's really an entrepreneur. But the essence of it is, I said, so the first thing that will tell me you're an entrepreneur is if you can, let's say you can walk out of your house and go for a one mile walk and come back. If you've thought of 100 ways to make money in that one mile walk, you're on the right track. You have the mindset of an entrepreneur. The next step, which is a little more difficult, is for any one of those 100 ideas that you came up with, are you willing to go homeless in the pursuit of convincing everyone that this is the best idea in the world? If you're not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are maniacally driven to show that they're right? That their idea is the best idea since the beginning of time, and they'll go homeless in pursuit of that. And if you don't have that mindset, you're not an entrepreneur. I'm not saying you shouldn't pursue entrepreneurship. You better find someone who has that mindset to work with you, because absent of that someone with that mindset in the company will not succeed.
Yes, all of these points you make is so funny. I have a son, and when he was getting ready to come out of high school, we had that conversation about, you're going to be working for the rest of your life. Pretty much.
Welcome to adulthood.
Yeah. And one of the conversations that we had was, you need to do something that you love to do, because in that way you don't feel like you're working.
Yeah.
And he's an artist, and he's been drawing since 8 years old. So I'm like, if that's what you want to pursue and you're happy with that, then go for it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like what you talked about with the mindset. I'm telling you, a lot of people want to be an entrepreneur, but you're right. You got to be you have to have the mindset that I will lose everything to make this business grow.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when you read about successful entrepreneurs, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, you name it, you will more than likely, when you read their biographies, read some, at some point in their life, they either experienced, they were homeless, or they experienced, abject poverty, because there's something about that state of affairs that drives you. Again, the only word I can come up with is maniacal. It's like you just, you're driven to such a state to get out of that state. And that's what because entrepreneurship is all about making something out of nothing. Right. So you literally have to, when you're handed lemonades, figure out how to make lemonade. That's what entrepreneurship is. It's not, no one's going to hand you lemonade and say, oh, okay, now go on the corner and sell it. You have to figure out how to make lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah. And then you have to figure out how to get the lemons.
So you got to make the lemonade, then you got to go sell the lemonade, then you got to account for the lemonade, and pay the IRS because you accounted for the lemonade. So yeah,
it's a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
a
believe
lot.
that what you said is true. Many people want to be entrepreneurs, but in the process of being an entrepreneur, they're not willing to make sacrifices, nor have they ever been in a position any time in their life where they've been homeless or almost homeless. Right. That homelessness teaches you something.
Yeah.
about yourself that you did not know was there. And that's what I think many entrepreneurs pull on. It's
Yeah.
like, I know what it's like to live in a rat infested building.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. I don't ever want to go back there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go back to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
No.
and then it's like, I mean, think of it. If you're in that state, right, a state of affairs, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to accept your fate and deal with it, or you're going to do everything you can to get out of it.
Yes.
And for the people that have it in them to do everything they can to get out of it, that is the trait that you need to prosper as an entrepreneur. When you're going to get as resourceful as you can to get from A to Z. That's the definition of entrepreneurship.
Yes, and I have to say you are absolutely right. Going through the journey of entrepreneurship is tough. Sometimes you feel like you're on top of the world. Other days, the world is on top of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's so when it works, it's incredibly gratifying. I wouldn't want to do anything else. But for again, people looking from the outside in, it's like, oh my God, is overnight success? No, there's no such thing.
No such thing.
I can show you anybody who in the eyes of the world looks like an overnight success, and you start to interview them, and okay, well, how did you get to where you were?
Oh yeah,
they got banged over the head a lot, for a lot of years to get to where they are.
Absolutely,
it disappears, but when they were getting banged over the head, no one wanted to talk to them. So you didn't hear about their struggle.
There you go.
You only got to hear about them when success started to happen.
Yes, when things were pretty.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh yeah, we want to talk to you now that you're making money.
Right.
Like, where were you when I was trying to make money?
Right.
And that's what you hear so many people say, that they will actually say that, it's fine that you want to talk to me now, but where were you when I was struggling?
Yeah, exactly.
And you hear that a lot from actors and actresses, people in the performing arts, when they were struggling, nobody knew of them. All of a sudden they become quote unquote famous.
Yeah.
And people suddenly have time. Yeah, and it's like, I'm still the same person. My struggle is part of my success.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I'm sure you would agree that
absolutely.
To be successful, you have to have struggled. And that struggle is part of the success.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's what most people don't.
Yeah, because we learn from failure. We don't learn from success. When everything's going right, you don't take the time to slow down and reflect on, why is everything going right? It's just like, I just want to enjoy this, right?
Yeah.
If it's going bad, it's like you got plenty of time to stop. It's like, I don't want to go through this anymore. Let me stop, take the time to reflect and figure out, why is everything going the way it is? What can I change to hopefully, make things go differently? So as I said, that we learn from our failure.
Yes, we do, all the time.
Yep.
So, Geoffrey, how do people get in touch with you?
So the website is www.thinkbigwithgeoffreykent.com. Geoffrey is spelled with a Geoffrey. So, I mean, that's the easiest way to reach out. And on the website, you will, I started, Think Big to, I'm at a stage of my career where I really want to get back. And for people that are destined to do, to go down this path, it's hard. So I want to make it easier on anyone that, as much as I can. So I really want to give back to people. So I created the website to be hopefully a repository of knowledge, my knowledge about, the entrepreneurial process. So, I've got a checklist for how do you start and scale a business that people can download for free. I'm constantly blogging, writing articles about different aspects of the process. And I've got my 7-week accelerator or course that people can purchase. That's the only thing you'd have to buy on the website. But there it's I've been told before that I have a gift for being able to explain very complex things very simplistically. So I really break down, again, when I studied, what did successful people do to become successful, and I infused those into business and saw them work. I'm like, okay, I can teach other people how to do this as well. There's the elements that you have to understand what those elements are. But then again, the real trick is, helping an individual entrepreneur understand how they can do those things, what they can do themselves, and then what they need to outsource so that they can do all of these 6 things simultaneously and prosper.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what's that website again?
It's www.thinkbigwithgeoffreykent.com. Again, Geoffrey is spelled with a Geoffrey. So
Yes, well, we appreciate you stopping by. We know that you're on your way to the Rise for the Q&A, and the Rise is the event that Christina M. Johnson is hosting all week. You can scoot over to the website, just Minding My Business Media. All information is there. But we're going to have you back, Geoffrey, because
okay, yeah.
this is definitely not enough time.
No, and we need to dig deeper into what it means to be an entrepreneur, because it's a word that you hear all the time now. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And yet,
well, I get on all these different forums and people are, I hate the word entrepreneur. It's overused. I don't know whether it's overused or not, but again, I have my personal definition for what an entrepreneur is. I can ask people a bunch of questions to determine whether or not they are or not. Again, that's not what stops you from becoming an entrepreneur, but it helps me kind of guide them. If you are an entrepreneur, great. You've already got that box checked. But if you're not, then you need to find someone that is to work with you, and then pursue the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
this was awesome. Oh,
yes. Thank you so much, Geoffrey. I wish I could come over to the Q&A tonight, but unfortunately we are booked for the rest of the night.
Okay.
We're definitely going to have you back, because I think that especially entrepreneurs that are just starting need this information.
Yeah.
They really do need it, because if all you had to do is do what you love, it would be wonderful.
Right.
That ain't all you got to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that you have to figure out.
Oh my God! I call it the ugly side of business.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're in the midst of a pandemic as well, and so you hear a lot of people, the Great Resignation. A lot of people are leaving their corporate jobs, and a lot of them are thinking about pursuing entrepreneurship. I'm all for it. But again, you have to walk in with your eyes wide open, and you really need to have a strategy. And it's all about, I guess, kind of last piece of wisdom I'll give people is, entrepreneurship should be pursued the opposite way that you would read a book. When you read a book, you start from the beginning, work your way to the end. With entrepreneurship, you have a great idea, what you think is a great idea, figure out what your exit is going to be. That doesn't mean you have to sell the company. There are a bunch of different ways to exit, right? You could pass the company on to family or friends. You could take the company public. There are a bunch of ways, but you need to understand what the exit is going to be, when you want that exit to have happen, how large your company has to be from a revenue perspective to get to that exit, and then reverse engineer your way back to, the beginning. And then now you understand every year, this is how much I have to grow my business to get to my exit when I want to exit, right?
Okay. Thank you so much, Geoffrey. We appreciate you. And go. I know you're going to give it to him tonight with the rest. Yes, indeed. But we're definitely going to have you back because this is rich conversation. It is needed conversation. And 40 years of you actually doing this and successful at it. We want to share you even more and more and more.
Well, I appreciate you having me on this time. If you want to bring me back, even better. I've enjoyed this conversation. Love to talk again. Hopefully a little bit longer. So
Absolutely.
I apologize for having to break off to go to this other thing, but
Hey,
it's
we
business.
understand.
Yeah.
Thank you, Geoffrey.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Geoffrey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Wow.
That was good.
That was really good. I just wanted to say that Ruth and I had an awesome day at the event with Constant today. It was amazing. The speakers were amazing. It was the Let's Keep It Real conference, and I'm telling you, we had a blast. We're going to be working with Christina the rest of the week on her Rise event. So we've been fed today with knowledge and perspectives, and just wanted to thank Constance for making us a part of her event, and we truly appreciate her for that.
Yes.
So thank y'all, and y'all have a great rest of your evening.